Welcome, folks, to the next episode of BattleTech Simplified, as part of our series here on the DM Shockman Institute YouTube channel. I'm Michael Shockman, I'll be your host and commentator, and in today's episode we'll be covering the 50-ton mech that to some is considered the king of medium mech walking artillery, and to many is considered the ultimate street fighter of the Reunification War era. Today we will be covering the Hunchback. The Hunchback is a respected and feared Reunification War era street fighter that has been in production since its introduction in 2572. Built for urban combat and close-range brawling, this mech has the heavy armor and weaponry to stand up against any foe in the dense cover of a city environment. Its heavy armament does come at a cost. In terms of maneuverability and heat dissipation, the Hunchback is merely average, while the lack of long-range weapons means the Hunchback is little more than a slow-moving target out in the open. In an attack, the slow speed of the Hunchback forces it to participate as part of the second wave, exploiting any weaknesses in the enemy's armor after they've been softened up. The Hunchback was originally designed and produced by Komiyama Nissan General Industries and sold throughout the Inner Sphere and Periphery, often fielded as part of medium and assault lances. The company was destroyed in the Succession Wars, but the Hunchback continued to remain popular, especially in the arsenals of House Kirita and House Liao, where it fit the dueling nature and all-or-nothing combat styles of the two successor states. Eventually, Kawayama Weapons Industries bought the rights to the Hunchback and restarted production at their factory on Kalidasa to supply House Merrick with large numbers of the mech. Dwindling stockpiles of spare parts and personal preference led many owners to remove the Hunchback's large signature autocannon and typically install smaller weapons in large numbers in its stead, resulting in a variety of variants collectively known as swayback because of the significant change to the mech's configuration and torso structure. The rediscovery of lost technology in the years prior to the clan invasion inspired a number of old designs to be upgraded. The Hunchback included, under a contract from the Free Worlds League military, Kawayama engineers designed a variant, the HBK-5M, which sought to improve upon the original while still maintaining the soul of the machine. While the new variant included several improvements, mostly involving extra protection against ammunition explosions and overheating, to the chagrin of many mech warriors came at the cost of reduced ammunition for the autocannon. Their objections ignored, production began in 3046. The new variant came into widespread use throughout the FWLM until Operation Guerrero, when this drawback was responsible for the failure of several advances. After this, Kawayama finally produced a new variant, the HBK-6M, which addressed this concern. In the years since, Norse Storm Battle Mechs opened a refit line to produce new Hunchback variants, and the mech saw use on both sides of the jihad. The primary weapon of the Hunchback is a Tomoduzoro autocannon mount Type 20, which can strip 1.25 tons of armor off an enemy mech in a single pull of the trigger. Mounted prominently in the machine's right torso, it is fed by 2 tons of ammo carried in the left torso. This weapon is paired with 2 Ichiba 2000 medium lasers, one in either arm, and a diverse optics Type 10 small laser mounted in the mech's head. All of the weapons carried by the Hunchback, along with its 2 heavy battle fists, make it a devastating opponent at close range. Sadly, however, with a cruising speed of only 43.2 kilometers per hour, it takes slightly longer to get in range. 10 tons of Star Shield armor is comparable to the amount of carried by many heavy mechs. Unfortunately, this has also caused many a mech warrior to consider the Hunchback an even match for these behemoths, when in truth, the mech does not have the endurance for a straight-up slugging match with many heavier mechs. And when the armor is breached, an opponent's next shot is likely to knock out the autocannon or set off the ammunition. Likewise, firing the autocannon produces a tremendous amount of heat, which, if not carefully managed, can force the Hunchback to shut down, despite its 13 regular heat sinks. When Kawayama restarted production of the HBK-4G, they replaced some of the components used in the original design. Instead of the Komiyama chassis, these newer mechs used a Crucius Type V chassis, while the Tomos Duzuro autocannon and Ichiba medium lasers were replaced with Kawayama Big Bore and Hellion 5 models. Both the communications and targeting system were also replaced with Omicron 4002 networking channel and TRSS Eagle Eye, respectively. As for my personal feelings on the Hunchback, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the Hunchback is by far my favorite medium mech of all of them. It is, as far as I'm aware, the only medium mech that carries a full AC-20 standard no matter what you do. There are other mechs where you can bolt on the AC-20 and where you can do it at the cost of other things, but this comes with its standard. And because of that, right out of the box, the standard Hunchback is one of my favorite close-in mechs to play as and to use in combat. I will agree with the readout saying that it is a bit under-armored considering its speed, and unfortunately the lack of excess of other weapons, even though it does have the 2 medium lasers and the small laser, that is sadly not really enough if for some reason the AC-20 jams or it gets destroyed or something like that. If that happens, you are essentially neutered, and it does put a lot of reliance on the that big weapon, which can in certain cases be a detriment. Still, I would say that I would have to rate the AC-20 or the Hunchback and its AC-20 as a solid 7 out of 10 on my list. Thank you so much, folks, for joining me. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment and a like. I really enjoy hearing from you guys and hearing what you think about the various mechs that I cover. I've been really enjoying making these episodes and hope you have enjoyed watching them. I'm Michael Schachman. I've been your host and commentator. And remember, no guts, no galaxy. Later, everybody.